This weekend, Vice President Kamala Harris met with ABC's Rachel Scott for a wide-ranging, exclusive interview covering everything from the administration's efforts to combat gun violence to the refugees in Rafah.
And during that conversation, Harris issuing the strongest warning yet to Israel, saying the U.S. has not ruled out consequences if they invade Rafah.
Let me tell you something. I have studied the maps. There's nowhere for those folks to go. And we're looking at about 1.5 million people in Rafah who are there because they were told to go there, most of them. And so we've been very clear that it would be a mistake to move into Rafah with any type of military operation.
A mistake, but would there be consequences if he does move forward?
Well, we're going to take it one step at a time, but we've been very clear in terms of our perspective on whether or not that should happen.
Are you ruling out that there would be consequences from the United States?
I am ruling out nothing.
And here to tell us more is senior congressional correspondent Rachel Scott. Thanks so much for being with us. And, you know, that warning comes as the Israeli delegation arrives in Washington. How has Israel responded so far to the Biden administration's warnings?
Yeah, you know, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has flat out just ignored that stern and stark warning that you just heard from the vice president that has been reiterated many times by the president of the United States. He says that he wants to go into Rafah. He wants to invade Rafah, and he will do it with or without support from the United States. You heard the concern there, though, from the vice president. She says that she's looked at these maps, that she's studied them, that there are civilians that are living in Rafah. She told me that many of them were directed to actually go there. She knows that Hamas is using them as a human shield. But look, you have Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He insists this is one of the last remaining strongholds, and he believes that he has to invade in order to wipe out Hamas.
Rachel, the vice president also directly responded to Vladimir Putin's claims that Ukraine was involved in that recent terror attack in Russia. What did she have to say there?
Yeah, well, immediately after that terror attack happened, we saw President Putin come out and he started to try to link that terror attack to Ukraine. And so I asked the vice president about that in our interview. She said the U.S. has absolutely no intelligence whatsoever to back up any of those claims coming from Putin, and it's something that Ukraine has denied as well.
The vice president visited Parkland, Florida this weekend to commemorate that deadly mass shooting 6 years ago. What was her message?
And this was such an emotional visit, Eva. That Parkland High School is really still a crime scene. It is frozen in time. She walked past the halls where there's still shattered glass, you know, even like papers that the teachers were grading at the time when that shooting occurred. She met with so many of the families. It was an emotional visit, but it was very important for the vice president, who has really been taking the lead on efforts to combat gun violence in this country. And President Biden did sign the most significant gun safety legislation in decades into law. What that does have is money for states to help implement so-called red flag laws. 21 states have laws on the books for red flag laws, but only 6 states have really utilized a lot of that funding. And so the vice president making a very strong push for other states to not only implement red flag laws, but to take advantage of that funding that is available, guys.
That was a wide-ranging, exclusive interview from our senior congressional correspondent, Rachel Scott. Rachel, thank you so much for being here with us to break it all down.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.